Hey everybody. Today I want to talk about the Christian faith a little bit and like what turns me off about it, and the things that make me like embarrassed to be a Christian or to talk about it with other people. And the biggest thing I can think of off the top of my head, there's not gonna be a list or anything like that. I'm just gonna go from the off from the hip. That's what I always like to do. And the biggest thing about Christians I don't like is like if I had a list of like a top three, would be the woo woo Christians or hippie Christians I call them. Hypocrites and ones that make compromises all the time. Those kind of, I think those go together. So maybe that's not a good example, but those are just the things that jump out at me when I say that. Oh, ones that aren't like, okay, so it kind of goes into compromises too. I was gonna say Christians that like can't defend their position, can't defend their faith. That bothers me a lot too. Yeah, so that would be number three. Christians who can't defend their faith. Um, So number one is like the woo woo hippie Christian, and like my mom, I love her to death or whatever. She's an evangelical or whatever, but like I grew up a lot of through my life of her saying like very cringeworthy things. Some would say, which is fine. You know what I mean? Like that's her thing, and a lot of Christians are down with that. I'm not trying to disparage Christians who are down with that now that I'm 31 years old, but I'm just trying to say like growing up as a child seeing that and being embarrassed because nobody else was literally that way. And so there's a lot about it that like now that I look back in retrospect, it is very was very beneficial for my upbringing. Like what she was saying, like Harry Potter's the devil, Yu-Gi-Oh's the devil, all these things are the devil. It kept me a lot away from a lot of things of the world that I don't give a shit about today and I don't miss because I've never like really experienced them. So there's a lot of advantages there. But what I just don't like about the hippie Christians is that they're weird to the point where maybe it's just me personally, but I just feel like turned off from the like. If anybody, I always imagine myself from the perspective as a Christian who is like not a Christian or somebody who like is not a Christian, and then I'm attempting to be evangelicized, or somebody's going to try to convince me to become a Christian. They just start saying this woo woo shit like Jesus died for you. If you pray to Jesus, all your dreams will come true. Jesus is my boyfriend. Cringy stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll show like footage from the church and stuff like that. And a little bit, I'm jealous here, but they'll just like be falling down and their eyes are up and they're all singing the worst music ever made, in my opinion. Sorry, worship music, whatever. Everybody has their own taste and stuff like that. But they will be like head back, hands up in the air, just like crying, and everybody's together. They're all being woo woo hippie Christians together. Like it's just like to me, I don't know. That just seems to really really turn me off. But I'm not saying to sit here and criticize that type of stuff, but which I am. Sorry. So I'm just kind of speaking out the side of my mouth a little bit, but that's what turns me off from the Christian faith, and I don't really personally understand it, I guess, but I'm just here to just speak what's on my heart. So the second thing I said, I think, was hypocrites. So we have these same, especially again, the woo-woo Christians. I see be hypocrites in there. They go to church on Sunday and then they're just normal the rest of the week, and they come up with these like it's where it ties in with the compromising and stuff like that. They will just live in a hypocritical state. And like for me, when I try to think of this from the big picture, when they're living in this hypocritical state and they're trying to like convert people to Christianity and stuff like that, when you live like the world, um, you know, example A B C D F G. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think I need to really list any real examples. There's a lot of. I'm sure if when I say that, there's a Christian in someone's mind who is living a blatantly hypocrite. It's not like a hypocritical where like you're messing up and you don't know and somebody points it out and you're like, oh crap, you're right, I shouldn't be cussing blah, 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 or whatever that person thinks. You know what I mean? Which is unholy in that Christian perspective, in that context, with whoever you're talking to, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying that. I'm saying like blatantly, like they're like doing coke, they're cheating on their wife, they're the Catholic priest and the boys and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff, blatantly hypocritical. Or my favorite, my family on my, and not to throw shade, I'm just going from experience here, but a lot of the family on my dad's side, they're like they would call themselves probably Orthodox Catholic, but then they degrade each other so much daily, and they act so like materialistic, and they judge. And I'm not saying judge in it. Judge by a Christian perspective. They just judge based on you can tell it's their own preference. Like this person is this so and so, blah, blah, blah. They gossip. They are divisive as fuck, and it's super annoying. So that hypocriticalness, that one kind of pains me more than the woo-woo Christians, because the woo-woo Christians, their heart's in the right place. They're just kind of like little children, I guess you could say. They're like children in Christian faith. They're drinking milk. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I see them. So they don't really know any better, but at least their heart's in the right place. But the hypocritical Christians, the ones that kind of make everybody look bad, worse is the hypocritical Christian for those reasons I was saying. Like, you know, you just go on a Facebook post and watch a little argument break out between so-called Christians or so-called Catholics and then non-conforming people. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus clearly says, do not repay a bad for a bad, don't repay evil for evil. You know what I'm saying? So like this whole eye for an eye mentality, with the Facebook beefing and stuff like that, and everybody's just like with this whole election cycle and just everybody's mask off. You can see like the, who's really with it and who's not about it. And it just makes me really, really embarrassed to call myself a Christian. And then number 3, I forgot what it was. Christians who can't defend their faith. Like, it's like, you claim for this one bothers me the most, I would say. So this is like a reverse list. This one bothers me the most because if you can't defend the reason why you believe in what you believe in, then why do you believe in it? Very obviously, you should if Jesus, if you're a Christian, let's say an Orthodox way or whatever, or really any perspective whatsoever. The order, and a lot of people love to espouse this in their Facebook banners or their Facebook. I don't know what that's called anymore. I got rid of Facebook, but their cover photos like God, family, then me, or my job, or live, laugh, love, or they'll got the Jesus fish on their cars and stuff like that. They'll like pronounce that Jesus is number one in their life, pronounce that God is number one in their life, but they can't even defend the faith that they believe in. They go to church, whatever. They're just kind of like, I think that kind of reminds me of the parable of the sower and then the different types of soil. I think this one would be like the rocky soil where they were the seeds sown, but it just gets choked out or whatever by the no, that's the thorns. But it doesn't really take root because they're not putting an effort to till their soil. And the parable, from my interpretation, is the soil is you, your being, your spirit, your temple, etc. You are to change yourself to make it so that the seed can grow within you, and a lot of that comes down to like. And one of the fruits of that, I feel, is going to be your ability to defend the faith, why you believe in what you believe in. Not necessarily to prove if God exists. It's not defending your faith and why you believe in your faith. It's two completely different subjects. That's a part of it, but you don't need to prove God exists as much as an atheist needs to prove that God doesn't exist. It's just kind of a non-argument. It's just a waste of time. It's like a sport. When we're arguing about if God exists or doesn't exist, and we're trying to prove it definitively, it's more so like a sport, and both the teams are just trying to score points in a debate, in a debatey sense. Like when you get to the brass tacks of it, like 99.99% of Christianity is having faith that like God is there, even though we can't prove it. So I mean, like that's not an important argument to be having. Like, there's a lot of other arguments. I mean, okay. Sorry, let me retract that a little bit. That's an important argument to be had, but you should be at least at the very, you should have basic level arguments of why you defend your faith. Like me, Christianity, I want to lead the most good life I can lead, and I've looked at most of the moral systems. I've studied a lot of different moral systems, and Christianity has the best moral system. Every single time when I put a little bit of Christianity to the test, it's only returned good things. Only. Not a little bit, not a lot of it. It completely 180'd my life around. Christianity did that. There's not other things that have done that to the point. So that's why I trust in the faith. Is because the more I put into faith and the more in the Bible that I test, the more it seems to come true, like manifest itself into like a positiveness in my life and those people around me. And it gives me meaning and purpose. And I'm no longer as anxious or depressed or yada, 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 yada. There's like a bunch of other things that we can talk about. To defend the faith or defend at least your reason why you believe in it. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be a good testimony, a good witness or whatever. And I'm not talking about those are just things that would be considered like materialistic or secular or whatever to begin the conversation. But if you can't make arguments to begin the conversation compellingly, then there's no further arguments to be had. Like, well, what's good? What's evil? Yada, yada, yada. Trying to answer the question of evil, trying to answer the contentions that people have. Like, what about homosexuality? Yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot have those conversations if you cannot, show that Christianity is good on any level. So that's it. That's kind of my whatever. I was stuck on the whatever. That's why those are my, biggest gripes with Christianity and why I'm embarrassed to call myself a Christian. I'm not personally embarrassed to call myself a Christian, but I feel like, there is a temptation to be embarrassed and not tell people that I am Christian, and these are the reasons why. I think all of you guys who fall into one of those 3 categories should be embarrassed to call yourself Christians, and you should work on it. And I say that with love, and whatever. God bless you. Have a nice day.